Iraq's Prime Minister waved his country's flag in Mosul and declared victory over so-called Islamic State. He brought to an end a huge 9-month military campaign.
Well, 3 weeks later, one of the first British aid workers to visit the city has described the utter devastation that remains.
Charlie has been talking to Madiha Raza from Muslim Aid, but first of all, let's take a look at some of what she saw.
We're in Mosul. This area was liberated a few weeks ago. It's still not completely secure, that's why we've got these jackets on. It's completely obliterated. That used to be a church over there. If you can see closer, there are some bullet marks on the, on the exterior. There are bullet marks in all the buildings in this area. So we're in a school in Mosul. I have no words to describe what I'm feeling and what we're seeing here is utter and total devastation. The entire school has been obliterated. This is not actually a clear area. There's still bodies under the rubble here. They've not cleared it yet. Look at this.
Tell us a little bit about that moment in time. You're holding up a little toy giraffe in amongst that scene of devastation.
I was actually in a school at that point that had been completely obliterated by a bomb, and in amongst the rubble, which hadn't actually been cleared of bodies, we found little artifacts, the shoe that I've brought back with me, cuddly toys, backpacks, real reminders of what once stood there, little children running around. That have been devastated by this war.
Just hold this up while you're talking. This is one of the. This is one of the little items you found. Yeah. It's a little girl's shoe, isn't it?
Yeah, even though it's been removed from that scene and situation, it still bears all the signs of war and devastation. And it's dusty, and it's just, for me, it was a real reminder of what's happened there and the real humanitarian need. That is still there.
I would imagine, as you worked in the aid sector for some time, but what were your reflections on first arriving and seeing the scale of what had happened there?
It was just catastrophic. It's nothing like I've ever seen. The entire city has been completely obliterated, and I've been speaking to a lot of the people from our evacuation teams at Muslim Aid, and the stories they have to tell and the things they've faced and seen. It really is devastating, and it's something that's going to take a long time to rebuild and rehabilitate, but hopefully Muslim Aid will be there in some capacity to actually help.
And I suppose it's interesting, when you hold up little items, you're holding up the giraffe, and you see the shot behind you, that's you actually picking up that shoe.
Yeah.
A lot of people think the same thing, is where are those people now?
Yeah.
Where have they all gone?
Well, it's quite morbid, but a lot of them are actually under that rubble. That school hadn't been cleared. A lot of people have moved to neighbouring towns. A lot of people have been moved to camps. So a lot of them have been evacuated by us at Muslim Aid from the front lines when they were under occupation, and then they're moved to camps after being given medical attention and some aid. But about 1 million people have been displaced within Mosul itself, and 60% of the homes have been destroyed. So it really is a catastrophic situation.
People already talk about the rebuilding of the city, whether that's in terms of the structure itself or just in terms of people coming back there. How do you see that progressing?
Well, actually the people are very resilient. Obviously they're moving back into towns that have been completely obliterated, so they're moving back to homes that are just under rubble basically. But in terms of how long the process will take, I think people are predicting around 15 to 20 years. But we will have to come together as aid agencies to help with that rehabilitation process. And it's great to hear the UK government have allocated £40 million to help with that process. So that's really great.
Clearly, the most important thing in these situations are the people you've gone there to help.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, people are always curious about aid workers, about the impact it has on you. It's hard to handle some of the stories you're saying, some of the things you hear, some of the things you see. It does have an impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was very harrowing, things that these people have been through. But for me, the consolation was that Muslim Aid and my colleagues are out there on the ground trying to help, trying to move forward. And that was something for me to be very proud of. But it did make me reflect on my reality and how lucky I am.
And that was Charlie talking.